Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Real Talk Bougie, guys. We are here to look at a video that was just published by, I believe, Channel 7 in Detroit. Basically, they're talking about the years of CPS complaints for Jarvis Butts. Um, Basically, it's saying in the description box, years before Jarvis Butts would be charged by Wayne County prosecutors accused of killing and sexually abusing Neziah Harris. Relatives of the 13-year-old say they filed multiple reports with Children's Protective Services, raising concerns about Butts. So we know a couple of weeks ago that Janelle and Kawana did a podcast with Community Advocate and did a pretty lengthy conversation regarding what had been going on and what they'd done prior to the events associated with Nazia's disappearance and subsequently Jarvis being charged for murder. Okay, let's get into it.
Right now, Jarvis Butts is awaiting trial for the murder and sexual abuse of Neziah Harris.
After listening to days of testimony last month, a judge called Butts a monster and said that opportunities to protect the 13-year-old girl were missed. Tonight, the 7 investigators are revealing years of warnings that preceded Butts' alleged crimes.
Warnings that family members say were made to Children's Protective Services that could have saved Neziah's life. Here's what 7 investigator Ross Jones has uncovered.
You look at that face and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing.
Years before Jarvis Butts would be charged by Wayne County's prosecutor, accused of killing and sexually abusing 13-year-old Neziah Harris, Harris's own relatives say they saw the warning signs.
So I'm gonna stop that right there for a second. You can see that that was Kawana and Janelle, excuse me. Let's see.
And told anyone who Harris's own relatives say they saw.
So here we go. So you recall seeing them. If you hadn't seen it, I will link it to this video. But both Kawana and Janelle is Annette's sister, half sister, and Kawana, I believe, is a cousin.
Saw the warning signs and told anyone who would listen.
So that at that point, I was like, this is too much. I'm calling CPS.
I tried not just once, but multiple times for them to take me serious in what I was saying.
Kiwana Morton and her cousin Janelle are both relatives of Neziah Harris. In February of 2022, Janelle says she learned of allegations of improper touching involving Butts and other small children. She says she was told about the claims while talking to her niece, Jarvis Butts' girlfriend, and that the alleged victims were Neziah Harris and 2 other children.
I was just like, oh my God, I was not crazy. This needs to be looked into.
She says she took the claim seriously in part because Butts was on the sex offender registry, having spent more than 8 years in prison for third-degree criminal sexual conduct. She didn't alert authorities at first because she believed her niece would notify police. But weeks later, Janelle did notify Child Protective Services. Her complaint came in on April 13th, 2022. There was an incident at a birthday party, the complaint reads. One of the children that attended the party accused Jarvis of sexual abuse. Neziah, and name withheld, reported that Jarvis touched both of them inappropriately as well. Jarvis touched, name withheld, in her private area, and it hurt. Janelle made the complaint over the phone.
They basically told me if they needed me for anything else, they would reach out.
The next day, Janelle would receive a text from her niece, Butts' girlfriend, confirming that CPS had contacted her. CPS called me, the text reads. They called about the well-being of my kids. Then they called back to get Jarvis info. A CPS spokeswoman would not tell 7 News Detroit if investigators ever questioned Neziah Harris after receiving the complaint. But we do know it wasn't the only complaint filed with CPS naming Jarvis Butts.
And it wasn't easy for me to call protective services just because of the horror stories that you hear.
Kawana Morton said she heard about the same allegations against Butts from a conversation with his girlfriend. 2 months after her cousins called the CPS, she would file her own complaint.
I told them that there's a problem and they need to be aware of it. I am 90% sure that there's sexual abuse going on within the home.
Did you specifically mention Jarvis by name?
Yes, absolutely.
Internal CPS records we obtained show that investigators looked into that complaint.
Okay, let's stop right here real quick. It says based on the investigation, there is not a preponderance of evidence to support the allegation of sexual abuse for blank by blank. Face-to-face interviews were conducted with both parents. According to Mr. Butts, he has not seen the children he has with blank in months. He stated he has not sexually abused any of his children in any way. He stated blank. Someone would say that about him. He stated it doesn't look good either, that when you look him up, he was convicted of a sex crime. However, that was 20 years ago. According to blank, was shocked that the allegations and this was all new to her. Blank stated her 3 oldest children ask for their father all of the time, and he will come over every time they call him. Blank stated she and Mr. Butts have an open visitation policy. Blank stated blank has never come to her with any accusations against her father, and neither have any of her other children. MDHHS sent a LEN to the Wayne County prosecutor and Detroit PD. MDHHS completed a referral to Kid Talk for blank, and blank was forensically interviewed. There were no disclosures. A home assessment was completed. The home was clean, had working utilities, an adequate supply of food, and was free of any observed safety concerns. A safety plan was not created due to Mr. Butts not agreeing to be separated from his children. This case will be denied as a category 4 with a low risk level. No one will be placed on central registry. The family was provided with a DHS 1450, publication 137, and a list of resources that can be used throughout McCobb County. Okay. So this wasn't even in Wayne County. I think they said they sent it to Wayne County, but this obviously must have happened in McCobb County or Macomb County.
Complaint, conducting a face-to-face interview with Butts, who strongly denied the allegation. A forensic interview was conducted with the alleged victim, and no disclosures were made. CPS said the home was clean and free of observed safety concerns. The allegation was denied, assigned a low risk level. These are 2 complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015, naming Jarvis. The allegation was denied, assigned a low risk level. These are 2 complaints.
Okay, let's stop right here. Let's see what this one says. Blank is the mother. So I'm on the left hand side of the screen. Blank is the mother. Just a moment, y'all. Blank is the mother of blank. Jarvis is the father of blank and lives outside of the home. Naziah is the niece of blank and lives outside of the home. There was an incident at a birthday party. One of the children that attended the party accused Jarvis of sexual abuse. Naziah and blank reported that Jarvis touched both of them inappropriately as well. Jarvis touched blank in her private area and it hurt. This was never reported. Jarvis is a sexual offender and a felon. Blank is sending pictures of herself on Instagram. Blank was asked to send a picture of her privates and play with her privates for the person on the phone. Blank instead of talking with her and reporting the information to law enforcement. That was the allegation on this report on the left. And then this maybe is the actual report on the right. The person said this is two reports that came through. So let me run it back a little bit and we'll listen to it one more time and then we'll talk at the end.
Specifically mention Jarvis by name.
Yes, absolutely.
Internal CPS records we obtained show that investigators looked into that complaint, conducting a face-to-face interview with Butts, who strongly denied the allegation. A forensic interview was conducted with the alleged victim, and no disclosures were made. CPS said the home was clean and free of observed safety concerns. The allegation was denied, assigned a low risk level. These are two complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015.
Okay, so we see things like sexual abuse, Jarvis Butts, parent, no preponderance, improper supervision, Jarvis Ramon, no preponderance. So everything was every time he was reported, it was cleared. Improper supervision, threatened harm. He's listed as a non-parent adult living in the home. Um, Parent's boyfriend, threatened harm. That was the fourth one down. Um, there's been red flags, obviously. There's been red flags, but look how it turned out.
15, naming Jarvis Butts. They allege concerns about possible molestation, physical.
They said they're fifth. Hold on, what they say?
These are two complaints of at least 5 filed with CPS since 2015, naming Jarvis Butts. They allege concerns about possible molestation, physical abuse, or living conditions. Some of the complaints are generic, and none would ultimately substantiate that Butts was improperly touching children. Just over a year after the last complaint on record, Butts would be charged with sexually assaulting and murdering Neziah Harris.
I'm brokenhearted because this could have been prevented. All of it. All of it could have been prevented.
Attorneys for Jarvis Butts declined comment for this story, citing his pending criminal case. As for CPS, a spokeswoman for the Department of Health and Human Services said that their hearts go out to the family and friends of Neziah Harris. It says that state and federal laws prohibit them from commenting on what we just reported, but that they are committed to ensuring the health and safety of all children. I'm Ross Jones, 7 News, Detroit.
One would not tell 7 News Detroit if investigators ever questioned.
So again, this is Kawana and Jernell telling their story about reporting Jarvis to CPS. We know this because both of them have told their story on the podcast a few times, and they're on here now providing receipts for everything and telling their story about what happened and doing their part, because their narrative was that the family hadn't done anything. And I get Jernell and Kawana have been on the record as far as having rang the alarm numerous times. So this is a great follow-up for anyone who hadn't heard that, seen that. We might go back through that podcast again from Community Advocate. It's on my channel already. And that was, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe even almost a month ago now, around the time of the preliminary exam. And definitely a lot of us who were new to the case didn't know what we know now. Okay. And now, there's just so much more information coming out and available. Jarvis has been a problem for a long time to a lot of people, unfortunately. And it's sad because the information was out here, and it's just unfortunate. He knew how to handle these type of charges. He knew how to um, convince the examiners or the investigators that he was not what they said he was. But at the end of the day, um, giving the excuse that it doesn't look good, using some reverse psychology. Like, I know what the papers say, but at the end of the day, I'm not that. And that was 20 years ago. Okay, that sounds good. But what we also know is that that's not the case. He has a certain appetite for females, as far as we just females, as far as we know, of a certain age group. And he also gains access and proximity to his victims through relationships with women that he's dealing with, who either turn a blind eye or allow him to have access to their young females. And it's absolutely disgusting, and one of the reasons why he's in the situation that he is in right now. Anyway, guys, let me know, had you seen this report yet? What are you thinking? I mean, this really isn't anything new, but what I'm going to say is that Kawana and Jernell are providing the receipts to the news channel on the record. We've seen them, talk about their involvement in trying to raise the question, alert anyone who could help in the matter, and let the record show that obviously there was family that was on the lookout. There was family that was raising the concern. There was family that was looking and thought that there was a problem, but they were blocked, they were ignored. Even when investigated, the investigations, came back that it wasn't anything. So, and then we see how that turned out, unfortunately, for Naziah specifically and the family altogether, because at the end of the day, this is bad. Um, it's awful. So anyway, let me know what you think of this. Comment down below. And if you are new here and you are interested in this coverage or any other coverage, make sure to to my community wall. Thank you so much for coming through. I will see you next time. Have a wonderful day.